Hello, everybody. It's really nice to be back again. It's really nice to be doing this. I've been hearing that a lot of people are just having a hard time with their rest cycles, with sleep in particular, maybe because of the stress, maybe because of the busyness of life right now, that they're just finding that sleep's really hard and broken. And basically, they are just getting more and more tired because they are feeling that they're just not getting enough rest. And so how to cope. And I really wanted to talk about sleep with meditation because that blew my mind of how it changed my sleep cycles. And it's one of the beautiful side effects that meditation gives people. And I've been a teacher of meditation of the Bright Path for over 20 years. And it's one of the things that we actually share about a lot and then go on to see happening in people's lives as a result, as we've taught them our techniques and then we follow them, watch them, share with them and help them in the months that follow, and just hear about how their lives have changed as a result of using these meditation techniques. Now, of course, I'm a teacher of the Bright Path, so I know the techniques of the Bright Path. Simple techniques that allow you to have a direct experience of the present moment. Very easy, very usable day and night. Eyes open, eyes closed. So eyes closed, typical meditation practice, and eyes open as you engage in your life. So very practical techniques that then lead you towards the goal of recognizing that stillness and that peace and allowing you to start living there more and more in that peace, no matter what's going on in this crazy world. So, but what I wanted to talk to you about was, regardless if you have any meditation practice or no meditation practice. So this really is talking about sleep and how to actually have a better sleep or start to go in the direction of finding more rest in yourself, regardless if you meditate, don't meditate, or want to learn my practice. If you do want to learn my practice, there's a website down below that links into all the teachers around the world. Find your local teacher and learn. Very easy. What stops us from resting would be a good place to start. What stops us from experiencing this state of rest constantly is our thinking process. We are basically addicted to thinking. Now, I want you to look at yourself as I'm talking, not in the mirror, but think about yourself as I am sharing what I'm going to share with you, and just see how this works for you. What stops us from resting is because we feel like we need to do. So there's all this stuff, all these reminders, all these ideas, all this list that's playing out in our head. And if it's not a list of things we need to do, it's things we need to correct, things you shouldn't have said, things you should have said to someone else, problems that are happening, fear of the world, fear of what's going on, fear of what's going to happen, right? So that's what the mind is. When I talk about thinking and when I talk about mind, that's what I'm talking about. This consistent, ongoing thinking process, this me that's churning out all these thoughts and ideas and judgments and fears and worries, anxiety. Anxiety is basically an overload of these thoughts. And then every thought typically can create an emotion in our body. It has the emotional content to it. It's a happy thought, it's a sad thought, it's a worry thought. So then when the thought gets thought, and then the thinking happens, which is lots of thoughts put together to create a paragraph or a story, then the emotional content follows that, because we're feeding that story to ourselves. And then the brain works, sends that message to the rest of the body, and it responds through emotion. The emotions are to protect us. The emotions are to give us the drive to move, to do something. So if you're thinking fearful thoughts, the body responds in a way so it can become super active to protect ourselves, which is the fight or flight process. The heart starts to race, the blood pressure rises so that all the blood can move inward to the organs, out of the organs and into the muscles so that we can respond. Okay, that's fight or flight. Let's respond, let's do something. Let's get out of here. Let's protect ourselves. Let's go forward and protect ourselves. Let's run away and protect ourselves. Okay, that's fight or flight. High blood pressure, lots of blood moving to the muscles and the heartbeat racing fast to move that blood. Really good news if you need it. Not good news if you're just going to work, if you're having dinner with your family, if you're trying to rest and read a book. Not good news if you're trying to go to sleep and your brain and your mind is going crazy about the news you just read on the internet, or the fighting that you just saw on the television program, or the stories you just heard from a conversation. And then your mind's going crazy, trying to work it all out, trying to let it settle through you, trying to work out how you deal with it. And then your mind's going crazy, the emotions are there, the heart starts racing, and there's no sleep because of the response to the thinking. Does this make sense to you? Because that's actually what's happening. Now, most of us live in a constant state of fight or flight because of our mind, because we're thinking all the time, because we haven't been trained to let stuff go, because we take it all personal. You see something on the news, you see a contradicting story on another news channel, and then you're in confusion. The emotion of confusion can feel like fear, or maybe it is fear, the heartbeat's racing, high blood pressure, anxiety, fear. We as humans are in a really bad state of how we treat ourselves, how we can't see that the world is going through its stuff and not every single part of it is personal. There's a lot of good by having so much internet and so much news and so much quickness with everything, with Instagram and everything. But it's also creating, as much as it's beautiful to have such quick news, it's also creating this weirdness in humanity, that we're so addicted even to the news now and need to know everything and need to be so updated, that we're giving up our peace, ourselves. We're giving up our health to know. And then at the end of the day, if you just don't pick up your phone and don't go on the internet for like 2 days, how do you feel? Some people might actually feel more anxiety because they feel like they've missed out. There's this whole culture that's growing right now of needing to know, needing to be seen, needing to put stuff out there, and then feeling bullied and hurt by messages that aren't even in your world right now, to the point that people are really harming themselves as they move in through their own cycle of depression and fear, anxiety, isolation. Oh, so many words I could just throw out there that we're all going through, but as a choice, by making the internet, the news, more important than peace. So yeah, you're finding this on the internet. So there's so much good in it too. There's this balance of what serves and what doesn't serve us. And we have to keep playing with that, honestly. Okay, back to sleep. So that's why we then close our eyes at night or go to rest during the day, and we just start to go tick, 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 and it's so busy and so hard to get that rest. Because also when the body goes into a state of rest, it wants to throw off the toxins and the stresses that it's accumulated during the day or during the weeks. And so the way the body throws it off, it could be like a little jerk or a shake, you know, like that happens when you go to sleep, you have that little kick. It could be dreams. So don't worry too much about what you're dreaming about, because that's very much just the body cleansing and throwing off the accumulation of stresses. A natural thing. There could be accumulation of thinking stresses or physical stresses, emotional stresses. It's got to move out. That's the way the body heals. And so you can experience these physical, like little nerve things twitching. But the way it moves through the mind too, because that's one of our vehicles as well, so interpreting this world, is dreams. And so dreams are just part of the cleansing process. So I wouldn't put too much attention on what you're dreaming about, even if they're pretty ugly, because there's a lot of stuff that we take on that's ugly, right? Look at the movies, look at a TV program, look at the adverts. I just saw an advert of becoming something on Netflix, and that 2 minutes of the advert, all it was guns and blood and cars blowing up. And I was just like, well, thank God I can disassociate the difference between what's personally for me and what's just a movie. But a lot of people's minds don't. And then when it comes back out through us, it can be quite upsetting, like nightmares. So play with that. Play with allowing all your dreams to be cleansing and not personal. So even if you wake up with, oh my gosh, I've just had this really bad dream, breathe it out, and then hit the reset button that it was just a dream and it's not in this reality right now, okay? So that's dreams. But getting to sleep, now that's where people just find it so hard because the mind is busy and they haven't learned how to let that mind be in the distance, either super busy, but not like controlling you, or they haven't learned the ability to slow it down and let the slow movements come through of the mind. And then you can move away from that too and just watch it. I'm going to use the word disassociate, but I don't know if that's a good word or not, because in therapy now, that kind of means that we're disassociating from ourselves. So we're in spiritual bypassing or going numb or in denial. I'm not talking about denial at all. You know, it's kind of a tricky world we're going through at the moment, because meditation is the ability to move your attention from crazy, harmful, killing us, you know, hurting us by thinking and impacting the system with negativity, and being able to move your attention to either positivity or into the present moment. That's what meditation is, right? Most meditations will do the same thing in just different ways using different tools. So the word disassociate basically means that, to stop associating with crazy mind and start associating with something that is beautiful and present and natural in this moment. But that word disassociate now in therapy means that you're spiritual bypassing or disassociating your emotions. And so you are becoming a zombie, or you're basically unable to feel. So I don't know if it's the right word for me to use, but if you can feel it in my context, take it in my context, and then maybe you know what word should go there, and you can write it in the comments below and help me for future videos. I never was much of a therapy person, so I've only learnt this in the last years, the therapy lingo. And as much as on one hand it serves immensely, on the other hand, it's not always the greatest truth. So, you know, we play with that. We play with our world. And again, it comes back to your experience. Even what I'm saying, bring it back to your experience. How to get to sleep, how to release this anxiety, how to move out of, I'm going to say move out of depression, but that could be a different video actually, because that's a different focal point. Is to see what's crazy mind is spinning around on. And you have to have the ability, which is actually natural, but because we're so far removed from it, it actually feels like a technique to come back to our natural state. Because the habit of thinking now feels natural when it's not. The habit of thinking, it is a habit. So the ability to break that habit or start to see it from a different place is what will give you sleep, okay? What will give your body rest. When you take your attention from crazy mind, thinking all the time about what you just learned, what you just heard, and all the problems with it all, because that's what crazy mind likes to focus on. If you just take a breath and just have this ability to just watch it as if you're watching a movie, that's all. Mind, crazy. I just spoke with Sarah. I'm now really upset with Sarah. And why did they all believe her and not me? And it's really horrible and I don't like it. Treat it like a movie. That now here's the voices talking about Sarah and all the stuff that's going on and went on and all the things I wish could change and why isn't it changing? You know, treat it like a movie. Just have the gentle ability to just see it as if it's on the screen and you're just watching that screen. Play with that. If you need to breathe to create that distance, breathe. If you need to count, 1, 2, 3, now I can talk about Sarah, or now I can have these voices about Sarah. Whatever you need to do to create the movie screen, play with it and do it. Do it as much as you can in the next week. Just do it. close your eyes and do it. With your eyes open, do it. When you know you've got emotions, you're feeling overwhelmed, your inability to just be nice in one moment because there's just so much stuff and you're feeling, you're just reacting and then you feel bad. Again, put it all on the movie screen. This is the movie of someone else's story. This is the movie of someone else's stuff that they've got to deal with right now. And let that distance happen so it's no longer personal to you. And then how do you cope? And then what is the solution? And then how do you deal with the situation with Sarah? Now, it's not disassociation or denial. Never, ever, ever will I promote that. What it is, though, is when we're up here with all these thoughts and all this stuff going on, and it feels like either it's too much, it's making us anxious, it's overwhelming, it's just too strong. The ability to just simply move back, and as if we're watching a movie, what that does is creates the space for clarity. It creates the space for the calm to naturally be present. So simple, but it also creates the space that we're no longer personally in the jumble of the story, and that we can see it objectively. And when we can see it objectively, suddenly it makes more sense. Suddenly there's a way out. Suddenly there's a solution. Now, or suddenly you realize it's not yours. It's not your problem. You don't need to be worried about this. These are huge realizations, because if it's not your problem, you can just let it go. Let them deal with it, or let the world deal with it, or let the politicians do their crazy dance and let them deal with it. You know, we will always receive their stories and have to follow their rules. This isn't new. This has been going on before I was born. That's what politics is. That's what government is. Don't get upset about it. Or you can, but you're going to keep going around that circle. Make it about your peace and your health today and this coming week. Make that more important than needing to know or being right. When you stop needing to know or being right, you can create that space and see the movie. When you see the movie playing out, then suddenly it's just funny. Or the clarity of what needs to be done. Or maybe it's not funny and it's not good at all, but now you can actually not get so emotionally caught up in it that you're just at home going crazy and missing your own life. And the best thing is, no matter what scenario is playing out for you, you can go to bed and turn off the mind. You can look at it and go to sleep. You are then looking after you. Who is the most important person in your life? It has to be you. And from that foundation of team you or team me, whichever way you want to look at it, you can actually start moving in the direction that serves you. Make choices that serve you, and your life starts to change. It's absolutely phenomenal. So yes, we're talking about sleep and how to move into a place of being conscious and able to go to sleep, to see the anxiety, to see the sleeplessness, the patterns that are creating the sleeplessness. And like I said, play with just putting everything on a movie screen and see what happens for you. It might be the start of something miraculous in your life. Honestly, meditation's that big. It's that important. Moving your awareness is that important for you, for your health, for your well-being. You don't give up who you are. You find yourself. You find yourself from all that crazy stuff. You find out who you really are. And then comes what you need to do. Okay, play with that. We've got a week. I'd love for you to comment. Please comment. I'd love to read them. I'd love to read them and even answer if you've got any questions. I'd love it to be quite dynamic in our exchanges. And I look forward to any response from you. Okay, see you soon.